Hello and welcome to On the Corner, the official podcast pitches.com. I'm your host, Eric Smolsky, joined by Nick Pollock. I just listening to Nick Pollock in my car, talked to Eno Saris. Now I'm talking to Nick Pollock myself. It's a wild world we live in.
Oh my gosh. It is nice meeting people because I always say to them, it's really cool to hear your voice after you've heard mine so much. It's only fair. So, what is happening, guys? We are here to cover the weekend games and, of course, next week as well. And we are now also recording this in the middle of Thursday afternoon after Foster Griffin has been lit up. And Zoe Matthews so far is all right. And Braxton Garrett, not so much.
Not so much. Yeah. And that was Framber for the Tigers today, right? Coming off the suspension. That was also
yesterday. He did well. He threw sliders.
Oh, that was yesterday. True. Yeah. Correct.
He threw sliders to lefties.
Well, you're that's gonna help you out.
And guess what, Eric?
Yeah.
No four seamers.
Well, and he didn't feel like he needed to hit anybody, so we get that. We got some unfortunate, I guess it's not news, but Chase Dollander didn't look good against the Pirates, and then had the old shaking out the arm that will make you think of Scooble. Griffin Canning, not particularly good today against the Brewers. Mike Burrows, not particularly good again today. But yeah, we're gonna go through all these, and as we did last week, we're gonna try to, as much as we can, kind of skip over the guys you're starting, and so we could try to talk much more about the players who might be more questionable for you here, and we'll give some updates where we can. And we're going to start with the Baltimore Orioles. They finish up this weekend with 3 at the Nationals. They go next week 3 at Tampa Bay, 3 home against the Tigers. It's a 2-start week for Trevor Rogers, who you're using because he's back from his illness, and it's a pretty solid 2-start week. We have 2 good starts in a row, Nick, for Kyle Bradish. Is he back? Is this 2 strong starts? Where are you at on Kyle Bradish?
So what's kind of cool from Bradish is we saw him demolish with the curveball against the Yankees. And he actually had 0 for 14 whiffs on his slider, which is very strange, but he threw them too much in the zone against the Yankees. He fouled off a lot of them. All right, that's fine. As long as he has one of those breaking balls working, that's good. And he was able to locate the sinker as well and four-seam as well. And seems like after 2 starts, all right, we have a lot better or a lot more confidence in Kyle Bradish. And now he should get the Rays twice in a row. Only once before the start of the, I don't know, in like 10 days. So like once next week, that's it. And yeah, I feel like we're going to be starting him throughout now.
Yep. When people asked me, like, what is the thought process in holding on to Bradish a couple weeks ago?
Yeah.
And I just said, I thought that the upside Kyle Bradish had was way higher than the upside of a pitcher you're going to pick up on the waiver wire. Sure. And given the carnage of starting pitching this year, I didn't feel like I needed to drop him. If you were going to pick up a Logan Henderson, a Connor Prelip, somebody like that, I understand the logic behind that. But I would rather have kept Kyle Bradish on my bench than played streaming games with guys like Joey Cantillo or, Cade Cavalli or something like that. And I just think it's important that, 7 starts feels like a really big sample size, but in the grand scheme of things, 7 starts at the beginning of the season, and they weren't all terrible. So, 5 really bad starts or whatever. It's not a huge sample. Kyle Bradish has never been tremendous when it comes to walks. If you look at his career numbers, it's always like maybe a little bit higher than you want it to be, but it's never been outrageously bad. And so I think he's just going to settle into somebody who's like, what is that? Like a low 3 walk per 9, it was like 9% walk rate. Like, it's not great. It's not killing you though. And as long as he cannot kill you with the walks, everything else in the profile looked like somebody who was going to be fine. The BABIP was elevated. Yeah. The pitch mixes were there. Like, I think we're back into, maybe he's not the top 20 starting pitcher we said coming into the season, but maybe he's a top 30 type of guy. And I just think he's going to be really usable for the rest of the year.
Yeah, that sounds about right. And as far as Trevor Rogers go, a lot of people are worried because he's just done badly. But velocity was there and pitch separation was there. Changeups were there. Like, I think Trevor Rogers is a really good pitcher who's just had some really bad breaks. So I'm definitely holding on to that.
Shane Baz, it's at Washington, at Tampa Bay. It's not a terrible run, but can you do it?
I just, it's fine. He's a 15-team Toby.
Okay. There you go. Moving on to the Red Sox, they have 3 at Atlanta this weekend, 3 at Kansas City next week, and then 3 home against Minnesota. Nick, that is a 2-start week for follower supreme Brian Bayo. At Atlanta, home against Minnesota. Do you see anything different here? Would you actually use that in a 2-start week?
I mean, look, Bayo isn't really doing too much different, and that bothers me a ton. And it's Atlanta in there, and it's just too risky and not enough of a ceiling. So I'm out.
I like the results. Obviously, have been there, and I think some of it is just attacking more, throwing more strikes. Nothing here is suggesting there's some like crazy breakout. What's interesting is that he's kind of shelved the cutter, which was the thing that he added last year to help him the strong ratios and the weak contact. And he's now going back to like the 4-seamer more. And whatever. I'm keeping an eye on it because he's still a young enough dude and he's been a major league average starting pitcher for the majority of his career, but I'm not doing anything actionable here. Atlanta this weekend, Connolly, Early, Peyton, Tolley, the young guys. Will you throw them against the Braves?
Oh man, do I want to have fun? You
Yes,
know, like you could play the game of every other for Peyton Tolley.
Sure.
And with Connolly Early, he did have a much better start last time, but it wasn't. I've seen amazing starts from guys that like 6 innings, 0 runs, 7 Ks, and I wouldn't say actually this is what that was. It was better, but it wasn't a guy that was just like, oh man, I'm untouchable now. He is not an overpowering pitcher, is the problem. He is a good, well-rounded pitcher, but it's tough to say against Atlanta.
I'm less confident against Atlanta. I'm firing them both up next week. It's early against the Royals and Tolley against the Twins.
Yeah.
Just for the news portion of this, Garrett Crochet threw his first bullpen, and so that's great. He says he doesn't want to go on a rehab assignment. What the team says may be different, but it's good to see him throwing a bullpen. We might be a couple weeks away from Garrett Crochet. I know that Fangraphs has him scheduled on Friday. I personally think that that's a little optimistic. I maybe would assume he's not in the rotation next week, but that's just me.
We'll see.
Moving. Sorry. Were you going to say something?
No, I was just saying, we'll see. To the Yankees, we've got Cam Schiller, easy one. We got the Subway Series this weekend.
We do.
Which is what I always like to say is a series for the Yankees and the World Series for the Mets.
Oh my
God. I'm just joking. I'm so sorry, Mets fans. I apologize profusely.
Listen, they're on a heater right now.
The whole little brother thing that I got to do.
Yeah.
They're on a heater. Is that right, Eric?
Yeah. Well, they're about to. They might sweep the Tigers. Ooh.
Wow.
We'll see how that game goes. Yeah. Then the Yankees get 4 at home against Toronto next week and 3 home against Tampa Bay. That's 2-start week for Will Warren and Max Fried, potentially Max Fried.
Yeah.
We don't really know how that's going to go because we've got the elbow soreness or whatever on the outside of the elbow. So we'll see. They do potentially get Garrett Cole back next week. So this is why Nick always says, don't do the whole what's going to happen in 2 weeks when so-and-so comes back, because we never know what's going to happen in 2 weeks.
Oh, gosh. Well, I hope he's okay. I hope it's what we're going to do, and it's a 6-man rotation.
But it makes sense to be like, listen, if you got to let Max Fried sit for 2 weeks to rest him, these things make sense. We'll see. Yeah. Rodon is somebody, you're starting pretty confidently again now that he's back. I think, honestly, all of these Yankee pitchers are pitching well enough that I'm not scared of any of these upcoming matchups.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty much rolling it out there now. Keep in mind that let's say it is a Max Fried and they need someone else. It could be Elmer Rodriguez Cruz. Mm-hmm. It could be Ryan Yarbrough, the Fratty Pirate Yarbrough. So I don't want either one of them against the Jays if that were the case.
Sure. It could also be, I'm forgetting the name of the guy that they called Brendan Beck.
Oh, okay.
He pitched well yesterday in the minor leagues. So we'll see on Max Fried's schedule. The Rays have 3 against the Marlins this weekend, 3 home against the Orioles next week, and 3 at the Yankees. It's 2-start week for Shane McClanahan next week, so you're firing that up, even though one of those is at the Yankees. Griffin Jacks, some command issues again the last time out. Where are you at on Griffin Jax as a starter? This Baltimore offense has kind of been underwhelming. Would you do that next week?
I'm tempted. Yeah. I think that Griffin Jax, from a stuff perspective, is surprising me in that he's holding the velocity for the most part. He's at 66 pitches in his last game. And what we saw was 95.5 in his last inning, which is, whoa, hold on a second. You were 97 earlier on. He fell down to that. I thought it'd be like 93 in the last inning or so. I'm sure that's at 66 pitches, but that's a very good sign. He also has an 89 mile per hour sweeper, and it's so good. And then the four-seamer under the hood is still very good. And there's a cutter at 93. It's kind of like a discount Rasmussen in a way of the cutter, sinker, four-seamer, and then you have
Which
a
is
sweeper that is better.
funny because he's another converted reliever like
Yeah.
Rasmussen. Jax has a
Right.
few more pitches, I think.
Right. And the command is better with Rasmussen.
Yeah.
So that's really the big difference there. I think it might be the time to go in and grab Rasmussen. Sorry, Rasmussen. My gosh, Rax. Let's just call him Rax, and start him against the Orioles. See how that goes, and maybe we repeat it after that because it should be around 70 pitches next time.
Yeah, and it will be Baltimore again after that. And so, I covered Griffin Jax Monday in my starting pitcher streamer article where I do some pitch mix breakdowns, and I think it's a deep enough pitch mix, and the approach to righties and lefties will work. I think he might wind up being more of like a 15 team league guy because I don't see like a ton of strikeout upside. But I think that Griffin Jax is interesting, and again, given the chaos with starting pitching, he's a decent player to grab. Moving on to the Blue Jays, 3 at Detroit to wrap up this weekend, 4 at the Yankees next week, 3 home against the Pirates. That's 2-start week for Patrick Corbin and Dylan Cease. You're doing that for Dylan Cease. You're not doing that for Patrick Corbin. Gausman's pitching well enough to start anytime, and Trey Savage is pitching well enough to start against the Yankees. Yes.
I don't really think that Trey Savage has proven that he's good yet.
I'm kind of
this year.
I'm
really hesitant to start him against the Yankees.
Yeah.
I'm curious what's going to happen in that Spencer Miles spot. They missed out on the Chris Paddock and Lucas Giolito extravaganza.
Sure.
I don't really know what's going to go on there, but the Jays need something, and it's crazy. They already added Patrick Corbin. They've just lost so much, and obviously they DFA'd Eric Lauer. So I don't know. Dylan Cease can go and just send out there, and I'd prefer not to chase Savage.
Could have had Alek Manoah.
That's what you deserve. Yeah.
I don't know what's happening. I mean, you look down in the minor leagues, and there's really kind of nobody right now that could be an option for them. Jake Bloss just started throwing again.
I dig him. He was part of the which deal was that?
Astros. It was the original Loperfido
for Kikuchi. That's it.
Yeah.
That's right.
I mean, Bloss just started throwing, but so he could be an option down the stretch for them or later on for them. Moving on to the White Sox, they get 3 against the Cubs this weekend, 3 at Seattle next week, and then 3 home against the Giants. Nick, it's a 2-start week for Noah Schultz. It's at Seattle and then at San Francisco. Is that enough to make you pitch Noah Schultz in a 2-start
week? So I hate that I have to talk about the weather still. It was 50 degrees yesterday. And that's going to affect a guy. He had 5 walks and 3 Ks, but at the same time, the best command I've seen from Schultz was the first game. And he has not had the same cutter. And even in that one, I was like, I don't think his command is that good. And I remember seeing some people upset at me for that take. And then it was just still not good. And it was even worse yesterday. It's at Seattle, which is really nice. And then Oracle Park. And it's a really good situation where you don't really want to jump in on Schultz right now, but you kind of have to with a 2-step. But that then means that you have him if it is going great after that, right? So fine. If you're in a weekly league, take the chance, make it happen. Pop the cork, finger snapping. And Noah Schultz, I don't think is having the whiffability right now with his sweeper and his changeup to get me really excited in your 12-teamers.
Yeah, I think if you're picking him up right now, it's because it's a 2-start week. And then he gets Detroit afterwards, which is not a matchup I'm running from. So the next 3 starts for him are solid, fine. But I have some concerns about the strikeouts here. Davis Martin, we'll see what happens on Saturday, but you are still running the Vargas rule right now at Davis Martin.
Yep.
Sean Burke at Seattle. We know that at Seattle is a place we tend to like to use starting pitchers. Sean Burke's last outing was not great. We'll see what happens Friday against the Cubs, but would you use Sean Burke at Seattle?
Okay, so Sean Burke had like 3 starts where things were looking good. The velocity was there, the command was there. It was all coming together, a little bit more vert, and then it has fallen apart. And I feel like that's the story of Sean Burke. So I'm not too encouraged at the moment for Sean Burke at Seattle.
I would not be doing that. I maybe in a 15-team league, but otherwise I would prefer not to. The Guardians, 3 home against the Reds this weekend, 4 at Detroit next week, and then 3 at Philadelphia. So that is a 2-start week for Slade Ciccone and Parker Messick. Slade Ciccone is not pitching well enough, in my opinion, to be used in a 2-start week that also includes at Philadelphia. But Parker Messick, you're using basically anywhere. So fire it up for me. We do this with there's not really much to analyze with Tanner Bybee and Joey Cantillo.
Yeah.
You're using them at home this weekend against the Reds because it's the Reds carpet, and the Reds offense has been a mess. Except for today, obviously, against the Nationals. But leading into that, it had been a mess. I don't know. I mean, I guess I would use them at Bybee at Detroit, Cantillo at Philadelphia next week, but it's always a roller coaster with both of them, and you're just kind of crossing your fingers and hoping for the best. I prefer Cantillo.
Yeah. With the Guardians, really, as you mentioned, it's oh gosh, I don't really want to do Bybee. But look, Reds carpet's good. Reds carpet's been a little bit better. Sal Stewart, hey, cool, awesome. But no, you have to do that with both Cantillo and Bybee, and obviously Williams. And then Messick, I think Messick's just so underrated. And we were talking about this before the show of just we liked Messick before the season started, the second he got the job, and his command is just so good. I put out a tweet about his sinker command. He doesn't really throw sinkers. He's more like a 4-seamer changeup and now cutter to right-handers. And he just threw like 15 sinkers that are just dotted down away. Just like, here it is. I can do this too. This might help because my changeup isn't working as well as it normally does. So I now will just replace it with a sinker today. It's really remarkable. And craziest part too, Eric, watching him, like his actual mechanics, I remember my first instinct was like, this is so wild and violent. There's no way. But no, this is insane. So I think that we aren't as a whole respecting that ability enough.
We are. We should be. It's JJ Bleday right now, by the way, for the Reds, just absolutely crushing things. Had 2 homers today. JJ Bleday. So watch out for Tanner Bybee on Friday against JJ Bleday. We'll see how that goes. Detroit, absolute mess of a rotation. I don't know what to tell you. 3 home against Toronto this weekend. 4 home against the Guardians next week. 3 at Baltimore. That's 2-start week for Framber Valdez. And so, you're using Framber Valdez in a 2-start week. It's 2-start week for Kider Montero versus Cleveland at Baltimore. Sorry. In a 15-team league, I am comfortable with the 2-start Kider Montero, Cleveland, Baltimore.
Yeah, I mean, Kider Montero is just like hey, I need 5-6 innings.
Yeah.
So we'll see if it's okay, but he's never going to be a probable for me.
Sure, I get that.
It's just like, I need something, please. I'm like, okay, this is maybe all right, but it's not a high enough ceiling for me to chase otherwise. So 15-team Toby all the way through. 12-teamers, I really don't feel like you need to do that one.
You know what we're maybe 2 weeks away from, Nick, in this rotation?
Troy Melton, baby.
Troy Melton.
Oh, that's so exciting. I'm thinking about this right now, actually. I mean, it's hard to think of him as a minor leaguer because he kind of isn't. Sure. He's really in rehab. But among all the minor league stashes, I'd say that now that Snelling and Braxton Garrett are up, it's him, right? Is there anyone else? River Ryan, but he's hurt, and it's not.
I mean, it depends. It would be Cade Anderson, but the Mariners have too many pitchers right now.
What is it about Cade Anderson that everyone loves? I really don't understand.
Probably the results.
It's like a 94 mile per hour fastball it's like the stuff that we saw in the spring, at least we had Statcast data,
Yeah.
was not impressive in my view. And the one that was impressive was Ryan Sloan. Like, it was off the charts impressive.
I think the pitchability of Cade Anderson is really, really good, though. And I think
Okay.
he knows what he's doing.
Now,
I
when
think also,
you've
like,
talked about pitchability in prospects before, right?
have
How
we?
often does that pan out well? J.R. Ritchie, I heard that about. Andrew Painter, I heard that about.
You heard that about Painter? I would never have said that about Painter.
Well, not pre-Tommy John, yeah.
Oh, maybe. I'm trying to think of other. I think it probably gets. I remember it being said about Connolly early, by the way.
Oh, that's cool. Okay, yeah.
So maybe that. Thomas White or Tommy White. I don't know where he goes by Thomas, I think, for the Marlins. Now that the Marlins have some injury issues, he's somebody to keep an eye on.
Wasn't he on the injury issues though?
What's up?
Wasn't he one of the injury guys?
Well, he had an injury at the beginning of I think it was a hamstring, actually, or it was a quad or something at the end of spring, but he's been throwing for a while now.
Okay, good.
But yeah, Troy Melton up to 55 pitches in AAA. He cannot come off the 60-day IL until the end of May, so he needs at least one more rehab start. But people should just be keeping an eye on Troy Melton. I think he'll be up around like 65 pitches in the last rehab start, which means he could come back over 70 pitches and still be, usable.
If you're in a weekly league, this is the week to get Troy Melton if you can, if you're allowed to. Because, yeah, you're not going to start him this week, but you're not going to start everybody. And then you have him on the bench and you might actually wind up starting him 2 weeks from today.
Yeah, I like, he's one of him and Jared Jones are you should stash them now before they come back.
Yeah. Who do you like more, Melton or Jones?
Jones.
Okay, yeah. All right. Counting crows over here.
Yeah, Mr. Jones and me.
And you, yeah.
The Royals, they have 3 at St. Louis this weekend, 3 home against Boston next week, and 3 home against Seattle. That's 2-start week for Seth Lugo, Boston and Seattle. Can you do it?
No, I don't want to do it.
Okay.
The curveball is down velocity from last year, and it's very clear that he's just not in a rhythm.
I agree. I'm trying to avoid if I can. I might do the Boston start as a standalone in like a 15-team league, but I'm trying to avoid in a 12-team league for me.
You really are just self-deprecating, Eric.
Well, the Boston offense is terrible. Hopefully that'll wake them up, but it's terrible. Somebody said the Red Sox right now have like a losing record, and somebody said that in their last 17 games, they would be 14-3 if they just scored 3 runs a game. That's how bad their offense has been.
That's how good the pitching's been, though, huh?
Excellent, and their offense is terrible. I'm curious, Stephen Kolek this weekend at St. Louis. People were intrigued by him against the White Sox, but that didn't go so well.
The White Sox, I gotta stop calling the Cry Sox. Someone mentioned that this morning.
Yeah, they're
hitting.
Yeah.
But
it was a 2-start week, and so a lot of people are gonna be sitting there with Kolek in their lineup this weekend. I'm curious if you like that as a standalone start. If you're in a head-to-head and you need a Sunday streamer, would you even consider that?
Absolutely, in a quality start league. And I would even say if you're like, all right, I need something here. Yeah, you could put together 5 and 200 runs so easily. Like, he has that ability, has a wider arsenal. He has the higher pitch count too. So Cardinals in a good park. Yeah. All right.
Finishing the AL Central with the Twins. 3 against Milwaukee this weekend, 3 against Houston next week, and 3 at Boston. We don't know if it's a 2-start week because Taj Bradley may be coming back. I'm just curious, your thoughts on Kendry Rojas, who looks set to take Bradley's spot in the rotation. We've seen him kind of as a bulk relief guy, but he is up in a rotation spot right now. I know you might not be starting him against Houston, but just generally as a pitching prospect, does he intrigue you at all?
Wait a second. Does that mean Zebby isn't sticking around?
It means that Zebby right now, I think Zebby depends on Taj Bradley.
So they don't want Simeon Woods Richardson throwing on 5 days rest.
I believe it was a schedule related issue right now because they didn't have an off day this week.
Right. So they wanted like a spot start
now
for Zebby to give them more rest for kind of prelims. Also like, I'm not used to this.
Right.
Extra. I need it. Okay. Fair enough.
They have said they don't want to overextend Connor Prelip. And that
Yeah.
doesn't mean, just so people listening know, that doesn't mean that they are going to skip him. It means if they have the opportunity to give him an extra day and bring up somebody like Zebby, they're
Right.
going to do that. But you're looking at a situation right now where it's like Kendry Rojas has been a bulk reliever. They could throw him in, but he is a starting pitcher. But they've been using him as a multi-inning. They could put him in the rotation. They could put Zebby in the rotation. Taj Bradley could come back from the pec strain at the end of next week, and both of them are out of the rotation. I guess the question then is kind of a larger, do you care enough about either Zebby Matthews or Kendry Rojas
Well,
in
okay.
shallower formats?
There is a part of me that is rooting for Simeon Woods Richardson only to stick around so that we can finally see a double-digit ERA. But Kendrys Rojas shouldn't be in this rotation. He is a bullpen guy. Ultimately, I think what you would see is after today, where Zebby just went 6 innings and 0 runs,
Sure.
for the squad. Yeah, 6 innings, 0 runs, 4 hits, 0 walks, 5 Ks. Oh, he's actually out there for the 5th too, and he got through the 7th, and he got through that one too. So
Okay.
7 innings, 0
So
runs, 4 hits, 1 walk, 5
That's
Ks.
Yeah.
Absolutely incredible. And what is he doing? He's throwing softer. It's around 95, not 96, 97. He's throwing strikes though with that 4-seamer and changeup. I'm not seeing enough that tells me, oh man, he's got his slider and curveball cooking. Like, no, it's kind of the same Zebby Matthews, but it's just against the Marlins, I guess, and he's throwing enough strikes, and that's good enough. I would be shocked if they said, all right, hey, Twins fans, look, we're going to keep Simeon Woods Richardson and put back Zebby Matthews. That just does not make sense to me. So it would actually play out that Zebby would start in Simeon Woods Richardson's spot before pre-lip next week. At the very least, I don't see a way that Zebby's not continuing in this rotation.
But would you start him against Houston next week though?
I don't know. I probably wouldn't, honestly. I know it's going to be strange for me to say that I'm not in on this start, which is just so great. Like 0 earned runs, 5 base runners, 7 innings.
Yeah.
But 5 strikeouts and just 7 whiffs. He only got to 2-strike count on 32% of the batters he faced, which is very low. It's normally like 55%, guys, 60%. That is incredibly low, which means you need to be super efficient at 63% to say, hey, cool, when I get to it, I will strike you out, which is normally around like 40% or so.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to get at is fortunate game for Zebby, especially with the lower velocity. And I would not be buying too heavily into this.
Yes, I agree. And listen, just a shout out to Kendry Rojas, since Nick said you shouldn't be in the rotation. 60 pitches of bulk relief over the weekend and did your job. So who knows if he could be a usable fantasy pitcher if he's in bulk relief roles. We will talk about some more usable fantasy pitchers, but we're going to do that after this break. Moving on to the AL West, we've got the Athletics, 3 home against the Giants to wrap up the weekend. Then they are on the road all next week, and you know we like that for the Athletics. It's 4 at the Angels, and then 3 at the Padres. Nick, it's a 2-start week on the road for JT Ginn at the Angels, at the San Diego Padres. I'm in, man. I'm in.
Yeah. I mean, so he just allowed 10 base runners with 9 hits.
Yeah.
And he commanded most of it well, but the sinker was very much over the plate and they got hits on that, whatever. But yeah, I mean, it's fine.
Yes, I would like to say I'm in on that as a 2-start week, not necessarily I'm in like fire up the JT Ginn hype train. I think it's again, my preference would be in a 15-team league for that, but I'm okay with that. And then do we like Severino on the road against the Angels next week?
That's fine too. Sure. I mean, Severino has not quite done everything I wanted as far as like you have to be. I never like having the guys where I go 50%, where it's I don't like them at home and like them on the road, because that's never 50%. It's actually like 35% that you get benefits from them, you know?
Sure.
Because they're not going to be 100% on the road.
Right. You mean
so
because the matchups are bad.
Yeah. Right. And it's just, oh gosh, it's very painful. So this is fine, but I wouldn't try to have Severino on my squads.
I understand that, and I would agree. We got the Astros 3 home against the Rangers to wrap up this weekend, 3 at Minnesota next week, and then 3 at the Cubs. Nick, it's 2-start week for Tatsuya Imai next week.
Why are you laughing?
Because I had so many shares coming into the season, and
man,
I think I probably still have him somewhere in some like draft and holds, but it was not a good start in his return. The rehab stint was not good. You cannot justify using him. I think I'm going to cut him in Tout Wars because he's been on my IL, and I just think there's no point in even holding him right now.
I'm actually really shocked that you held on to him in Tout Wars.
Well, Tout War, you have unlimited IL, so
I'm being really stupid. So why would you? Yeah, you should get the Fab money.
Well, I
back.
can't now. I mean, I guess I could have when he was on the IL the first time, but now he's healthy.
Oh, okay. So next time he goes in the IL.
I'll hold him till the next time he goes on the IL.
No. So I mean, what's so strange is that what he was a 4-seamer splitter reverse slider guy, right? Mm-hmm. So what does he do in his first start back? He throws sinkers and sliders.
Right. Yeah. And he only throws the splitter when he's ahead, and he never gets ahead in the count, and so he doesn't really throw the splitter. It's tough, man.
What is going on?
It's not for me. I can't do it.
No.
Mike Burrows, I don't know, dude. Like every time I do any sort of like leaderboards where I'm like picking through the stats, I like Mike Burrows comes up.
Yeah.
Because in the grand scheme of things, like he's not pitching as bad as his results
absolutely not
suggest. He doesn't miss a ton of bats, and I think that's that is something that's an issue. But I still am a believer that like it's going to improve as the year goes on. This is a guy who coming into this game where he did not pitch well on Thursday, he had a 5.04 ERA, but a 3.97 Sierra. And part of that is a 3.44 BABIP, which is incredibly inflated. I don't know that he's a 3.97 pitcher, but I probably think he's more of like a low 4 ERA pitcher than a low 5 ERA pitcher. Mm-hmm. And so I do think there's going to be a hot stretch at some point in time, but it's not happening right now. And so, even at Minnesota, like I just don't feel comfortable using Mike Burrows.
Yeah, I totally understand that. I mean, Mike Burrows, I remember, I say this a lot. When you watch a game, you can subconsciously understand, do I feel like this guy's battling himself for the batter? Like, is he executing the things he wants to do? And in his last game, there were some moments when, but Mike Burrows was doing it. And then absolutely not other times. I'm just going, why do I do this to myself? Yeah. Why do I go after a guy like this?
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. I mean, it was, easy to buy into the narrative. And so I think people did. Also, listen, he was pretty good last year in 96 innings for the Pirates, and he went to the Astros and they started having him throw a sinker, which was going to cover up the bad 4-seamer. And so I get it. It looked really good in the spring. And I just want to say, like, I don't believe that people who bought into Mike Burrows were just looking at spring stats. Like, he pitched well last year. Right. The Astros made pitch mix changes. It made sense that it was going to work. It has not currently worked. You and I were also in on Peter Lambert after 2 starts, where he looked pretty good in those first 2 Astros starts. I think I've kind of come around to the fact that like it's maybe not as exciting as I was hoping it was going to be, but he's a perfectly serviceable pitcher. And in matchups that are decent, I think he's going to be decent. And so like I would probably start him at home against Texas this weekend, and I would not start him against the Cubs next week.
Yeah, that sounds right to me. He's cromulent, as Sporer likes to say.
Yes, he does.
And yeah, I mean that's fine. I also I do want to mention that in this last one, Lambert did do much better against lefties, did more of the Blake Snell blueprint that we saw in first and second start. But yeah, I mean he should be a solid quality start arm. The Astros are going to let him go a bit. Mm-hmm. He's solid, but he's not someone I have to start out against the Cubs with. Sure. Right? It's not that good.
We move on to the Angels now. They have 3 against the Dodgers this weekend. They have 4 home against the Athletics next week. They have 3 home against the Rangers. Before we get to the 2-start week, we may get a season debut this weekend from
Ooh.
Grayson Rodriguez.
Oh my gosh.
It's against the Dodgers, so we're not starting him. But we were talking earlier about pitchers to pick up, and this is like the Troy Melton, Jared Jones, whatever. Does Grayson Rodriguez rise to the level for you of like, especially if you're in a daily moves league, where you could grab him like as soon as you hear this podcast? Would you pick up Grayson Rodriguez and put him on your bench for that Dodgers start and just think, I have Grayson Rodriguez, maybe some of that prospect hype is going to come true here?
I'd rather do that for Griffin Jacks.
Okay. What about Troy Melton or Grayson
Troy
Rodriguez?
Melton all day.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, that's I don't have too much faith because we did see him in the spring and it just was not it. And yeah, no.
Interesting. Okay, good to know. I personally am also not stashing Grayson Rodriguez or trying to pick up Grayson Rodriguez. I'll see how he does in this start, but I'm not super interested right now. I'm more interested in a 2-start week next week from Walbert Urania because it's home against the Athletics and home against the Rangers. It's kind of like the JT Ginn thought process for me of like, it's decent matchups. It's not something that I'm like, I need to get this 2-start week, but I am okay with those 2 starts because of the matchups. And I think I might prefer Urania because I don't love Ginn against the Padres, but the Padres also aren't hitting well. I don't know. Maybe
Urania has a good changeup, which means against the Guardians.
That power changeup.
Right. Against the Guardians, who are going to throw all lefties against him. He did okay. And he also had some of his better change of command there. But that's it. And that is scary to me because, yes, it is hard, but it's empty velocity. And they are not major whiff pitches. They are not the best commanded pitches, the 4-seamer and the sinker. It was like 40% changeups in that Guardians start. I don't know if he can get away with that as much against these guys who are not going to be 100% lefties. It's not the highest ceiling either. And if you're going for 6 innings, I actually would say Ginn over Urania.
Well, yeah, if you're going for the innings, I guess that makes some sense. Though I think the slider is a decent pitch. I don't think the slider is a bad pitch.
He barely throws it, and he doesn't command it.
Well, I mean, doesn't he save it mainly for when he's ahead, which also might be why he barely throws it? But
it's possible. The way when I've watched Urania, it's like everything is changeup, 4-seamer, sinker. Maybe here's a slider, but it's not like this overwhelming. It's not like a splitter, for example, that you save and then it really gets them in. Puts them away effectively. It's like, that's a work in progress.
The starts I've seen, he does what the Angels try to do, which is like hide 4-seamers above the zone, right? They've been trying to do that with Detmers, trying to do that with Jose Soriano. Like, I know this 4-seamer isn't great, but if I get it above the zone, you're probably not going to do much damage on it, and so it can change eye levels and be useful. But if it's not located well, it gets hit really hard.
The 2023 Ronel Blanco and the 24 or 25 Noah Cameron. That's what that is. Saskatchewan's arrived.
Pour one out for Noah Cameron. Mariners. We don't really know what they're doing. Because
what are you doing?
Because the 6-man rotation was just supposed to be for this week because they had enough games. And then they were going to piggyback Bryce Miller and Luis Castillo. But Luis Castillo is currently pitching well against the Astros. And so it would be hard to see them just say to Luis Castillo, you're not in the rotation now. He's just, even if it's just surface level stats, he's had one of his best performances in a long time. And so, yes, so they could go 6-man. And maybe that means you don't get a 2-start week from Brian Wu. And that would be frustrating. But we'll just have to see. For the Mariners, it is 3 against the Padres to wrap up this weekend. It's 3 home against the White Sox and 3 on the road against the Royals next week. I think everybody, with the exception of Luis Castillo, has reached, I'm just pitching him. Like, he's on my team. He's starting. Even Bryce Miller, who looked pretty good in that first start out, and we held him on the bench to just see what he looked like. But he looked good enough that it's like, I'm rolling him out there.
Oh, yeah. You saw 97, 98. Like 2.5 ticks up from last year. And I understand the adrenaline, but still by the 6th inning, By pitch 81, he was still at 95. I actually want to say 96 or so. It was really good with Bryce Miller, and yeah, I'm so very much in on that. Emerson Hancock's a little bit worrisome because he's lost vert on his four-seamer now. And even in the 14 strikeout game, he was still above 10, but then it was under 10 inches of vert in the last one. And keep in mind that Guardian's start to begin the year was 14, but we didn't know the arm angle was lower yet. And then I got really excited. I got to like 12 and 13, and now it's down to 10. And I'm like, okay, is this going to be effective now? So there might be something going on with that, which means that Luis Castillo pulls a good old Taiwan Walker. And you think he's gone, but he sticks around a little bit longer. That's, yeah, we'll see what happens.
I like that, using that as the Taiwan Walker from now on. That's great. I will be storing that for later. The Rangers wrap up the AL here. 3 at Houston this weekend, 3 at Colorado next week, and then 3 at the Angels. You are not starting almost anybody in Colorado. So none of Mackenzie Gore, Kumar Rocker, Jack Leiter. But if you're in a weekly lineup lock league, Gore gets Colorado, but then he gets the Angels on the weekend. Are you willing to take the Colorado start to get the Angels start?
There's no guarantee that Gore is going to do well against the Angels.
Also true.
There you go.
Yep. Kudos to Jacob deGrom, who this week became the second fastest pitcher ever in terms of innings to reach 1,900 strikeouts. So yay.
Man, I just got to take that off my wall now.
Yay, Jacob deGrom.
Yeah, good job.
Do you know who the other one is?
He's the second fastest.
Yeah, in terms of innings. Because obviously
I would say
I can say this as somebody who's older than Jacob deGrom, but he's old. He's been in the league for a while.
He is in the league, you're saying?
No. I said Jacob deGrom has been in the league for a while.
Oh, I see.
But no, Jacob deGrom is the second fastest pitcher in terms of innings to reach 1,900 strikeouts.
Yu Darvish.
It is not Yu Darvish.
I have no idea.
Is a left-handed pitcher who maybe has a problem with birds.
Yeah, Randy Johnson.
Yeah.
There you go. I don't like Jacob deGrom because of how he treated Eno Saris. So if you don't know that story, you should ask Eno Saris about it if he wants to share it.
I do know that. I do know that story. Yeah, that's kind of it for the Rangers. So we are going to move on to the NL, but we're going to do that after this break. Moving on to the NL, we have the Braves. They have 3 against the Red Sox this weekend, 4 at Miami next week, and 3 against the Nationals. That's 2-start week for J.R. Ritchie. Marlins, Nationals. Will you do it?
I don't want to.
What?
I don't think J.R. Ritchie is very good.
I know, but it's 2 pretty decent matchups.
Yeah, the Marlins are surprising at times.
Yeah, at Miami, it's a good pitcher's park.
Yeah. I mean, fine. Sure, the 15-teamer, I get it. I'm just, I don't know. I think that J.R. Ritchie is such milquetoast.
That's fair. Yep, that's fair. So 15-teamer, where did he stack up for you in the JT Ginn, Walbert, Urania 2-start week?
Both of those former ones. I actually higher win chance for J.R. Ritchie.
Yes. There's a potential he gets 2.
Okay, I'll put Urania third.
And Ginn first or Ritchie first?
Ginn.
Okay. Also potentially a 2-start week for Chris Sale. We really like that. Spencer Strider at Miami. You're probably going to start Spencer Strider. Who knew you couldn't say that fast? You're probably going to start Spencer Strider at Miami. But what are your general feelings about Spencer Strider right now?
For Spencer Strider?
Spencer Strider.
Spencer Strider was not featuring the best stuff I've seen, and I feel like watching the Dodgers outing, it was a strange one. I mean, the Dodgers as a whole, the Bryce Elder, I already ranted with Eno on the craft about Bryce Elder's game against the Dodgers, but for everybody else listening, if you haven't heard that, it's unreal. Dalton Rushing 2-0 swings at a cutter above the plate, and then he doesn't swing at a 2-1 fastball down the middle. And then he doesn't swing at a beautiful front tip sinker for called strike 3. And is just like the worst at bat. I don't understand. But this is the kind of stuff that somehow Bryce Elder is pulling off. And then there's a fastball inside to Ohtani at 93 that we've seen him crush for a home run so many times that he just didn't. It's strange. So Strider and Elder, I watched both of them, and maybe to me, it might honestly be that the Dodgers are struggling, and I hate that for anyone who's an Atlanta fan listening. But it's a moment where like the eye test isn't showing me someone who's amazing. The data is saying this is not amazing, and then the results are shockingly good.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever that happens, it's never something that lasts. But boy, do I hope I'm wrong.
I'm kind of with you on this one. And I listened to that whole thing on the craft.
Oh, nice.
Marlins 3 at Tampa Bay this weekend, 4 against the Braves next week, and then 3 against the Mets. That is a 2-start week for Max Meyer. It's Atlanta at home and the Mets at home. I'm still doing, I mean, he's pitching well enough. I know it's the Braves, and I would prefer not to use that, but in a 2-start week, I'm going to fire up Max Meyer because I just think he's pitching well enough that you got to use him.
To our listeners, I don't know the answer to this. Can you identify the accent that Eric has? It's the only differentiator, I think, between me and him, where it's the ire. It's like the fire, the Meyer. I do Meyer. It's like a tighter whim. And it's not just you. I know from other people, and I'm sure I have some stupid Brooklyn things that I do. I don't enunciate my D's and my T's effectively. But I just hear with Max Meyer. I'm like, I just want you to say that name again. Okay. Atlanta and Mets.
Fire.
And I'm sorry, everyone. Now you just can't not hear it. You need to go through what I go through. Max Meyer has a much better four-seamer now. Mm-hmm. And it's been 3 straight starts of seeing that eccentric vert on it. He allowed 2 home runs to Byron Buxton. I'm just kidding. To Byron Buxton. First pitch of the game, four-seamer upstairs. And then in the third, I think it must have been, it was a sinker down and in. First pitch, again, home runs. 2 fastballs, 2 home runs to Buxton. This is what he did the third time. Slider, changeup, slider, strikeout. Okay, good. Good job. Way to learn, Max Meyer. And I don't grade him too heavily for that one against the Twins there, because otherwise it's a lovely start. So I'm actually doing this against Atlanta. I think it's the best version I've seen of Max Meyer in his career is right now. So go with him against Atlanta. Even if it isn't the greatest, he should get strikeouts with it, and then should be much better and worth your time with the Mets.
Yuri Perez, this is your moment at Tampa Bay, home against the Mets. Like we gotta be we just have to perform in these starts. You just have to do right. We got to step up now. The time has to come.
Look, he's only home for one of them, Eric.
I know. And here's the thing: I'm going to say, okay, at Tampa Bay, like this is not a team that's going to put up a lot of home runs, so they're going to have to, like, single him to death. But then I'm going to watch the game, and Junior Caminero is going to probably get him for 2 homers, and then they are going to single him to death. And I texted you before the start against the Twins, and I said, I don't feel comfortable using Yuri Perez in my home league against the Twins because the Twins always seem to hit the starters that I throw against them or whatever. It's like, but that's the level of, like, coming into the year, I thought the Twins were going to be one of the worst offenses in baseball, and I was going to start every starting pitcher against them, and I didn't start Yuri Perez against them, and it was a quality start, and so whatever, I guess that's useful in a lot of formats, but I don't feel like I missed out on that much. And I don't know that I'm going to run him out there against the Rays this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, same thing with Sandy Alcantara. It's just what can we trust with him? I don't know. It's tough. I see Yuri, and I just see a guy who does not know where it's going.
Yeah.
And I don't like going after those guys. I just don't.
And this is why, like, when we were discussing the Bradish and Yuri Perez both, not pitching well a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I was more in on Bradish figuring it out than Yuri Perez figuring it out.
Right.
And it's because I just generally trusted his ability to command an approach in a way that I don't trust with Yuri Perez right now. Like why are we throwing? Why can't we elevate the fastball anymore? Like why are we
Right.
throwing the fastball so low?
Yeah.
Like what I don't know what's happening where it's just getting hit around. I'm concerned.
Yeah,
Um,
completely. With Jansen Junk, it's unfortunate against Atlanta. It's he has not consistently located either. He's gotten strikes, but it's not the approach that I want. It's higher stuff now, but it's not four seamers up. It's not the Blake Snell
mhm.
blueprint, breaking yours down effectively, etc. So still waiting for that one to really sign on.
Moving on to the Mets, they get 3 against the Yankees this weekend. They get 4 at Washington next week, and then 3 at Miami. That's 2-start week for Nolan McLean, which you are definitely firing up. It's also a 2-start week for Christian Scott at Washington and at Miami. I'm in.
Yeah, Christian Scott, I'm in. I think
Funny
Christian.
about me. Do I say Scott wrong too?
You said firing. That's why.
Okay. Whatever. Stop using any of those words.
You didn't say anything wrong. It's an accent. That's what I said. It's just an accent.
You're making me self-conscious.
It's not wrong.
But somebody
like
reached out on Twitter because I had mentioned Christian Scott prior to this starting at the Tigers, and they said not a great outing. And my response to it, and this was not in like a negative way. It was just like, oh, what should we do about it sort of way. And my response was that Detroit was always going to be a bit of a tougher test because they'll platoon and they'll throw a lot of lefties at Christian Scott. And Christian Scott is somebody who will struggle against lefty heavy teams more so because, as we were chatting prior to recording, it's the fastball and the sweeper are his two main pitches. He has a cutter, but he doesn't use that as like an early called strike pitch to lefties like you would expect. Oh, I'm going to jam the cutter inside and get called strikes. And then sweepers we know tend to struggle against opposite-handed hitters. So the profile is better for righties, but he's using the sweeper in a way that's like getting a lot of called strikes. And Lance Brozdowski wrote about this just because of the nature of like where his release is, that his sweeper actually like rises more than most sweepers do.
It's a hand of God sweeper.
Yeah. And so I do think that like there's a funk factor in the sweeper that like he maybe is this really, really above average zone rate and called strike rate on the sweeper to lefties may not be a mirage. Like it may be something that he can continue doing. And really all you want for Christian Scott is to be fine versus lefties because he should be pretty good against righty heavy lineups. And so this is like a 12-team 2-start week for me. Like I really like this 2-step for Christian Scott.
No, I'm a huge fan of it. I mean, I feel like the Mets are going to see him as like the gel that like keeps them together. You know, they're going to call it a Narnia because it's going to be CS glue us. And Christian Scott is going to be that guy. I really
people
feel.
Do you think know who C.S. Lewis is, by the way, that are listening to this?
Narnia, come on. Narnia. Are you joking right now?
No, I just think that we're older than you think we are. Sometimes.
Everybody knows that. So Christian Scott, I exactly what you're saying. The four-seamer is really good. It's flat. The weird game that he had should just be thrown away and recognize that, he could have even gone deeper yesterday. It was 89 pitches. He could have even gone further in, right? So expect him to go 6 innings constantly for you against the Nationals, against the Marlins. I think this is a pretty easy 2-step for Christian Scott.
Agreed. Moving on to the Phillies, 3 against the Pirates this weekend, 3 home against the Reds, and then 3 home against the Guardians. That's 2-start week for Andrew Painter. Cincinnati at home, Guardians at home. Can you do it?
The best game I've seen from him, with 32 breaking balls, each with that is the sweeper and the slider, both independently had an 81% called strike rate. They combined for a 50% CSW. That's cool, Andrew Painter. Now, can you do it again? I don't know. It is the Reds carpet. It's a little tempting. And then you have the Guardians. The problem with the Guardians is that you're going to see only lefties, and this works so much better against righties. I'm going to say no, because I think the floor has been proven to be so very low with very limited ceiling.
And we should keep in mind that the start that you're referencing was against the Red Sox, who we've talked about. Their offense is really, really struggling right now.
Yes, you have talked about this.
Yes, I have. I'll probably talk about it again at some point here, but yeah. And then the rest of it, like, Sanchez, Wheeler, Luzardo, Nola, these are good enough matchups that you're going to fire them up.
Yeah, I mean, it's just Nola against the Reds carpet. Once he gets to the Padres, I don't know. I don't think I can sign in on Aaron Nola.
The Padres have been struggling too. Like, we'll see how the Reds carpet start goes. But
against lefties.
Yes.
Against lefties, but
Fair.
Nola, not as much.
Okay, that's fair. Nationals, 3 against Baltimore this weekend, 4 against the Mets next week, 3 at Atlanta. It's 2-start week for Jake Irvin, which you're not doing. It's 2-start week for Foster Griffin, who you mentioned got hit hard this today. It's the Mets on Tuesday, which is like, maybe, but then it's the Braves on Sunday. Are you using Foster Griffin in that 2-start week?
Do you guys feel that he's earned enough to be a Vargas Rule Plus, which means that even though he just hit the massive wall that we talk about, you're still going to keep going with him, and you are going to do it for the Mets one. You got to do it. Like, yeah. It's so successul.
I would do it for the Mets one. The Braves one makes me nervous.
Of course it should.
Yeah.
And if I had to commit to both, I would commit to both.
You would commit to both?
Okay. Yes.
Over JT Ginn, who we talked about before?
Yes.
Over, who was the other one we talked about before? J.R. Ritchie.
Well, yeah, because Ginn was above Ritchie.
That's true. Ginn was above Ritchie. Okay. I might put Ritchie over him for the sake of wins also. I don't know that Foster Griffin gets a single win there.
That's a movable object.
Sure. And we hate projecting wins and all of that. NL Central, we got the Cubs. 3 at the White Sox this weekend, 3 home against Milwaukee next week, 3 home against the Astros. 2-start week for Shota Imanaga, which we like. Do we like Ben Brown in the rotation? Because it seems like that's what we're getting.
No. I have not liked Ben Brown in the rotation since Ben Brown has first been in the rotation. I only like Ben Brown, the wonderful gift maker here at Pitcher List.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wonderful.
He's amazing. I love Ben Brown. But no, Ben Brown is the same guy from before. Yes, he has an added sinker. I'm aware. That does not mean that he's now something way different. There is a changeup that he sometimes throws in there. It's a curveball that is kind of like a gyro slider, but with a little bit less movement and a little bit more two-plane, but not like a proper 10-10 wins news curveball. And it is not really so elite for me. He doesn't get whiffs on the four-seamer. The sinker hopefully gets some easy outs. But then you remember, wait a second, Ben Brown isn't like an elite command guy. So no, I don't want this.
That was just such an elite, like, New York City nostalgic pull of the 10-10
like
win.
3 times in the past, like 2 days.
10-10 wins, weather on the 10s. Like, I just like all the time in our car growing up. Oh, great. Yeah, we are recording this before Ben Brown pitches on Thursday night, so we should just get that out there. He pitches against the Braves tonight.
Yeah, that shouldn't go well.
I will just say, like, I'm with you. I had Ben Brown in a 12-team home league where I was using him in a relief pitcher spot because I liked him as like that multi-inning guy, and I cut him for Ryan Nelson.
Oh my gosh!
Because
why were you even in a position to not have Ryan Nelson beforehand?
Well, he was on another team, and somebody dropped him after
what a dingus. Just kidding. I'm just messing around. I understand, man.
But yeah, it was just like, but that's saying, like, I understand that the surface level stats look really good, and I understand that people are excited about Ben Brown. And in a 15-team league, like, if you want to hold on to him and see how it works, I get it. There's not tons of options out there, but in shallower formats, I moved on because I am with you. I don't love it as a starter. I should also just note, because we were discussing this early, that Kendry Rojas pitched the final 2 innings of that Twins game. So I think that pretty much cements the idea that he is not a rotation option for them.
I wonder who it could be.
Well, it's going to be Zebby. We just talked about that. I'm just cementing it now as we come back. I'm doing what they in the business world they call circling back. I circled back because we had put a pin in it, and so I
we tabled it. We took it offline.
We had to get some altitude, and we came back.
Yeah, my wife likes we'll take it offline.
I hate all those, but yeah.
Yeah, me too. She does too.
The Reds, it's 3 at the Guardians. Also, that's the first time I've heard you say my wife like this on this podcast.
Oh my gosh.
It's great. The Reds, 3 at the Guardians. The next week, they have 3 at the Phillies and 3 home against the Cardinals. It's 2-start week for Nick Lodolo. It's at Philadelphia. It's home against St. Louis. The start this week was not great.
Sign me up, Eric.
Sign you up?
Sign me up.
Okay. 12 teams also?
His curveball had a sub 50% strike rate. Not the best version of him. That's not what he's going to be. His changeup was beautiful. Sinkers were great to lefties. I think the four-seamer is fine. Velocity is there. I think he just needs to get past the still ill and like get a little bit of rust off. Yeah. Again, 2 starts from this. You got to do it.
I'm with you. I said rust as well when somebody asked me on Twitter. Andrew Abbott is going to face the Guardians on Friday. Is this like he's been rolling enough and the Guardians are not a matchup that scares you? So go for it.
I think we're on the same page. And what are you going to say?
I'm using him in this one.
Okay, we're not on the same page.
No.
Also, I actually that's questionable. I'm worried.
I have him nowhere. So when I say I'm using him, I mean like if he was on my team, like I could see it. He's pitching
Eric,
well.
What we do is I feel like you and I don't really play fantasy baseball. We play fantasy every pitcher, right? Like that, just every day we have our own assessment of yes, no, no, yes, yes, no, no, yes, no, yes, right? And when it comes to Andrew Abbott, I don't see him using all of his pitches as he did last year. Like the changeup is not there against right-handers. He's not getting the four-seamer up against them. The breaking balls are not quite great against right-handers. It's better against lefties, but guess what? The Guardians just can go, whoop. They're like pendulums with their lineups. They go full lefty or almost full righty, and that's going to be not an easy one for Abbott.
Yes. And also, as I'm seeing this, I'm going to amend my start to no, because I thought, just knowing the hitters, I don't know why I was under the impression that the Guardians were better against right-handed pitching, because I feel like their starters are more naturally left-handed hitters. But it turns out that the Guardians offense is far better against left-handed pitching. They're top 7 in OPS. They're top 7 in weighted runs created plus against lefties. They have the 5th best strikeout rate against lefties. So it's a much better offense, 5th best on base percentage against lefties. So it's a much better offense against lefties, which was not what my instinct was telling me. And so I'd probably avoid this unless I was in a deeper format then.
Yeah, there we go. Beautiful.
Moving on to the Brewers, they have 3 at Minnesota this weekend, 3 at the Cubs next week, and then 3 home against the Dodgers. We don't know if it's going to be a 2-start week because we don't know what's going to happen with Brandon Woodruff. I currently am not expecting him to come back again after having fluid removed from a cyst in his shoulder, but we will see. The Brewers feel pretty easy for me. Mizorowski is an ace, and so you're using him all the time. Kyle Harrison and Logan Henderson are pitching well enough right now that you're using them in pretty much every matchup. And I'm not using Chad Patrick or Brandon Sproat in any matchups.
I can't believe we just like naturalized. Hey, cool. Just fluid from a cyst in his shoulder. I'm sorry. We just like normalized that.
I mean, it's what happened.
Oh gosh, man, the things that like these players go through, they're just like, oh yeah, oh man. Sorry. Brandon Sproat to me is just still like, I want it to work and I can see how it works. And it's just not. It's not quite there. Logan Henderson, I think, is still massively undervalued. And Kyle Harrison's killing it again, I think, today. And I think you just got to keep going with pretty much Harrison, Henderson, and Mizorowski. And I can't do Sprout. Oh my God, I said Sprout. And Patrick. Yeah. So that's where I am on that one. Also, I find it so funny. I can't get over this. It's Harry and the Hendersons. How is this not like a bigger deal to everyone?
Because a lot of people are too young to know what that is. That's why it's not a bigger thing.
But the people who run baseball teams are not.
Sure. I guess because they're not, it's not like they hit back to back in the lineup. I don't know, but yeah, it should be on some promo material.
Come on, Harrison and Henderson. Are you kidding me? It's all great. 3 of the words of Harry and the Hendersons.
I know. I get it. Do we need to speed round these final ones to get you out of here?
Now let's just go. Let's go.
Okay, Pirates 3 against the Phillies this weekend, 3 at St. Louis next week, 3 at Toronto next week. What are you doing with Bubba Chandler?
Praying.
Okay, you're not starting him against the Phillies this weekend.
I'm
correct?
getting the sense that he is too much of a max effort, just rip it and grip it, and like not going to figure this out, which is just the most unfortunate thing ever. But I feel like if it's a two-step, which it isn't, it's it's just questionables all the way through until he figures it out. Really,
I think what I noticed in the last one was like you're throwing a lot of strikes, you're getting to a lot of 2-strike counts, your slider's not putting anybody away. I'm worried. I have still been holding him in some 12-team leagues because I believe the ceiling is really high. But I'm getting close to saying this isn't great, and I don't know that I love it. And I also don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that he goes down when Jared Jones comes up. I know everybody's easily saying, well, Carmen Wadzinski should be out of the rotation, go back to the bullpen. And I get that that's the easy answer, but it just wouldn't surprise me. If Bubba Chandler's next 2 starts against Philadelphia and at Toronto are not particularly good, I don't know that it would be crazy for the Pirates to send him down to AAA for a little bit.
You know what's kind of interesting? The Pirates have had the same exact rotation the entire season, haven't they?
Yes.
And that's a rarity. I mean, I think you have that with St. Louis a little bit right now too.
Well, yeah, St. Louis used some remember the brief Hunter Dobbins fling?
Oh yeah, well that was just like a one-day thing of they didn't interrupt any of their 5 though.
Yes.
It is uncommon. It's what I say constantly when it's like, what about these 2 guys when that happens? Same thing with Jared Jones, Eric. Okay, so don't bring in another Will Warren, Ryan Weathers because of Jared Jones.
Well, we know Jared Jones is coming back though. But yes.
Yeah, we know that Garrett Cole is coming back.
Yeah, fair. I think Dustin May have been hurt at one point, but I could be wrong.
No.
Cardinals. Speaking of which,
I don't think Dustin May is hurt at one point. He's not. He's been going all the way through.
I thought he missed a start this season. Whatever. I'll look as you're talking about the Cardinals. Okay. 3 against the Royals this weekend. 3 against the Pirates next week. Then 3 at the Reds. It's a 2-start week for Matthew Liberatore versus Pittsburgh at home, on the road at Cincinnati. Can you do that?
He is pitching better. Even though it wasn't the best against the Athletics, it was 4 shutout and then a grand slam against Nick Kurtz. I could see that working out in a 2-step. It's generally better to go for the volume. So, okay, but I'm not enthused about it. Dustin May is getting more strikeouts right now. I mean, the last start finally started to see some life. I'm really curious what we see on Saturday that would dictate what I would do against the Pirates on Thursday.
There you have it. And the answer to your skepticism is that you were correct that Dustin May did not miss a start at all.
But you know why? Because he's just so excited for this month. There's no way he would prevent himself from being.
He's got to pitch all of May. Moving on to the NL West, it's the Diamondbacks. 3 at Colorado this weekend, 3 against the Giants next week, and then 4 against the Rockies at home in Arizona. So that is a 2-start week for both Zach Gallen and Ryan Nelson. Home against the Giants, home against Colorado. You're firing up both of those, are you not?
Well, Gallen hasn't come through, but I feel like he's pitching better than the lines are showing. But I've said that before, and it just does not work. And there's something to be said about Zach Gallen looking like it should be okay, and there's just not. And way too risky for me, really. I don't want to at this point.
Really?
But Ryan Nelson is just so underrated, and I don't understand it. He now has 15 strikeouts on his last 2 games. Don't tell me he doesn't strike anyone out. He's so much better than people are saying. So go get Ryan Nelson.
Zach Gallen is a no for you. Home against the Giants, home against the
He's not
Rockies.
necessarily a no. It's like I have him above Ginn, right? But it's like it looks on paper so amazing. Giants and then Rocky Road. This should be no problem. You know, PLBot has the Rockies on the road as an average start now.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So is it because Mickey Moniak is the greatest?
Yeah, it might be.
Alive?
You know.
Yeah.
It's
Eduardo Rodriguez Gets
Yeah,
the
that's a good one.
Rockies at
Love
home.
that.
You
Love
doing it?
that. Not on the road, not in the course, and
Just at
Soroka too,
home.
by the
Oh,
way, also vastly underrated. I
okay.
mean, Nelson and Soroka, I think, are the most underrated ones. You have Eduardo Rodriguez, a wonderful one-game stream hosting Rocky Road. Merrill Kelly should be fine against the Giants. This is a nice, lovely week of the Giants and Rocky Road for the Diamondbacks.
Nick, I'm going to read you some quotes.
Oh, no.
Because the next team is the Rockies, and we normally say you're not throwing any Rockies pitcher unless it's Chase Dollander on the road, who is scheduled to start on the road against the Rangers on Tuesday. However, we know he left the game today with an injury, was shaking out his arm. His manager, Warren Schaefer, said after the game, quote, "Just general arm tightness is what we're going to roll with right now." Don't know what that means.
Well, it
And
means
then,
like that's what they're going to roll with. What we're saying to the PR, like
that's what we're going to roll with right now is just general arm tightness. And then a few minutes later, Chase Dollander was asked about his concern level with the injury, and he said, quote, "I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't want to say too much before anything else happens, not to freak myself out or anybody else out."
So what's really funny is inside the Twitch chat every single morning, guys, 10 a.m. Eastern time, someone accidentally misspelled Dolander with a C, and I realized that you could totally call him Chase Collender because he is filled with holes, and yeah, that is not a good sign. It's been a really good run.
Back to back are terrifying.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I'm expecting at least an IL stint, and so that means you're not using any Rockies pitcher next week. Moving on to the Dodgers.
You are freaking me out by saying I don't want to freak anyone out.
No,
don't tell me everything is okay. You don't want to say everything is okay.
Yeah. We're just gonna roll with it. We're just gonna roll with that one. The Dodgers, 3 at the Angels this weekend, 3 at the Padres next week, and then 3 at Milwaukee. It's never a 2-start week because they roll 6 pitchers out there.
Could be.
You got Robleski against the Angels this weekend. I know the last start wasn't great. Are you using him against the Angels?
I don't want to deal with it. Okay. It's like a 93-mile-per-hour fastball with a slider, and it's like, yeah, it's decently spotted between the two, and that's it. It is, I put up that image of Elder versus Robleski as like the regression gods are salivating, and you saw it come to life a bit with Robleski, and as it's so funny because, as I've said before, like we were both really interested. We thought that this would be a much better pitcher, and it worked out, but we're like, not for this reason.
Yeah.
So I don't want to do it. I just don't want him near my team.
And we should note that the Dodgers have said that the Glasnow injury was going to be a minimum stint on the IL because it was just a little back spasm.
Just a little.
And so that could put him back next weekend. And I know that everybody is saying, well, Roki Sasaki should lose a spot in the rotation. But this is another situation where it wouldn't surprise me if Sasaki stays and Robleski goes, because that was what the Dodgers did at the start of the season. And so why wouldn't they move Robleski back to the bullpen like they were doing before?
Roki, Taiwan, Sasaki.
Roki, Taiwan, Sasaki. Yeah.
Oh man.
There's like a Roki Robleski name merge for what they're going to be as a hybrid starting pitcher.
Bloki?
What?
For Bloki?
No, I said Roki and Robleski. Oh,
for Bloki.
Bloki? It's terrible, but it might fit.
You brought this for Bloki?
Yeah. So the Bloki starts next weekend. The Padres, they have 3 at Seattle this weekend, 3 home against the Dodgers next week, and then 3 home against the Athletics. It's 2-start week for Michael King. It's Dodgers, Athletics at home. You're going to do that just because Michael King is pitching well enough. And, the Dodgers one isn't great, but Athletics at home, you're going to do. Lucas Giolito is going to pitch this weekend. We don't yet know if it's Saturday or Sunday. I think you're on the same page with me as you are not going to start him because we don't know what to expect. But do you think, does this rise to the, hey, I might stash Grayson Rodriguez, or hey, I might stash Lucas Giolito, or you shouldn't be adding him at all until you see him pitch?
I think I prefer Robleski Wroblewski as opposed to Wrobloki.
Sasaki. Okay.
Wroblewski. Giolito, I actually got to talk a little bit to the Padres about it, and it's a little bit of a mystery at this point of what we're going to get from Giolito. And I wanted to give you guys more information. I just can't. So I am going to say no. I remember last year, of course you do. If you're if you follow us on Reddit and you found me through that, you certainly will know about me and Lucas Giolito and us, really. And he had that incredible 6-game run of like 2 earned runs or so. And even during that, it felt like every single start something else was good and something else was bad. And it was not a consistent pitcher. Then you have the arm question, and then you have like no one wanted to sign him for whatever reason. Maybe he was just asking too much, or I don't know. And I don't have any faith, especially in the first one back. So this is such a clear wait and see. I don't see a ceiling that is worthwhile to chase at this moment.
It would be Athletics at home next week, which could be interesting in deeper formats if he pitches well enough in this first start. But
I wouldn't even trust it.
Right. This is not a situation where I am like in an NL only format. I could see you starting to think about it because it's hard to find starting pitching in those formats. But that's probably the only format right now where I'm thinking about adding Giolito. Last team, it's the Giants. They get 3 at the Athletics this weekend, 3 at Arizona, and then 3 home against the White Sox next week. So that's a Robbie Ray 2-start at Arizona versus the White Sox. We like to see that. We are really happy with what Landon Rupp is doing, or Roop is doing, and so at Arizona looks good. You're not going to start Trevor McDonald at the Athletics. But are you going to start Trevor McDonald home against the White Sox next week?
Oh my gosh. I think that everyone should consider getting McDonald right now. And I want to call him Buck. Is that okay? Can I call him Buck?
Why?
Well, I mean, who's the famous Buck that you know?
Showalter?
Oh man. Player, pitcher.
Buck McDonald.
Buck Farmer.
That's not. I would not consider that a fame. I would not consider that a.
These are like the only Buck who's played in baseball for like the last 10 years.
That's true. There haven't been a lot of Bucks.
Joe Buck.
Joe Buck.
So I won't call him Buck because it's Trevor McDonald. Anyway, totally landed, Nick. Trevor McDonald is
just a lot of. If you could type it in Fangraphs, a lot of Bucks have played baseball. Buck Ewing, Buck Leonard, Buck Herzog. Buck Farmer.
Tell me, guys, if anyone Buck, knows these names.
I just want to say, if I type in Buck on Fangraphs, Buck Farmer doesn't even come up. I just want you to understand that.
Well, in the last 10 years, okay.
Maybe that's something you need to talk to Paul Sporer about. But Buck Farmer does not even show up.
What was it, Tigers and Reds, right? Yeah, totally. Trevor McDonald, I think, is good. It is a sub-2 vert sinker, so it's a true sinker, also 2-plane as well. And it's a really good breaking ball. I don't know what to call it. They used to call it a curveball last year. Now they're calling it a slider. It's a lot of movement at 86, 87. We dig it a lot. This is, not a good situation at Athletics. However, I think that Trevor McDonald, who also flexed the changeup at times against the Dodgers and got some whiffs on it, which was like, hey, you got that thing too. He's a good pitcher. And he was doing really well in the minors too before they called him up. I think he's going to stick. I think there's even an argument that when Webb returns that it would be Hauser gone. So if you're really concerned about McDonald sticking for a while, I wouldn't necessarily think about that right now because you don't know what it's going to look like when Logan Webb returns.
Yes.
So this is the only Trevor I would consider. I'm now going to move past my never Trevor for this one exception. And I think that you should be picking him up actually for this Athletic start because if he does well, there's no way you're going to get him for the White Sox one.
Yeah, and I will just say let's say he stays in the rotation. He's somebody who I think also against teams like the Guardians, I would be more cautious because that sinker slider approach with very lefty heavy teams is going to be a little bit less impactful.
I have one counter argument, which I don't know if Buck here can handle. I'm doing it. I don't care. Is that sinker ballers, true sinker ballers, not two seamers.
Sure.
Sinker ballers like Clay Holmes can succeed against opposite-handed batters because if they live either super high up and in, comes back in over the plate, or down and away, they can get those ground ball outs down and away effectively. And we've seen that a lot. Think of it like Dallas Keuchel against right-handers. like with that neckbeard approach. Like that could be the life of someone like Trevor McDonald against opposite-handed batters. So I don't know if that's really what we're going to see with it. Also, if he has a changeup working as well, that could be okay. I'm not going to rule it out as of right now.
So we're gonna wrap this up, but just because nobody is running out the door, I just want to say some names that we went over as guys who are probably not rostered in a lot of places that we thought were interesting. I think that Christian Scott, who remains like sub 20% rostered in Yahoo, I feel like is probably the one that we're like most in on of the least rostered players.
Connor Prelip.
Oh yeah, Connor Prelip. We didn't even discuss today, but criminally under rostered.
Yes.
So Connor Prelip for sure. Of the guys who we were like, hey, 2 starts or pick up, you've got Trevor McDonald, you've got JT Ginn, you've got
J.R. Ritchie and Walbert Arena.
J.R. Ritchie. Dustin May, I think, is probably in there in terms of like roster.
Oh, he's barely touched. Yeah, I mean, the ones that I'm really like honing in on and focusing, I'm like, okay, cool. Those are the guys I gotta pick up. Christian Scott, Prelip. I mean, Trevor McDonald's on that list for me. I'm trying to scan through this as fast as I can, but I don't really see too many others. I mean, Ryan Nelson somehow is not.
It's rising. That roster rate is rising.
Yeah. Okay. Good. It's about time. Max Meyer we're interested in, but that's whatever. Jansen's done a little bit, but not this week. I don't think.
Eduardo Rodriguez would be in a lot of it. Eduardo Rodriguez available in a lot of formats.
For that one start, stream is an interesting one against Rocky Road. Absolutely. And I'm not seeing a whole lot else.
If people dropped Noah Schultz, we were both kind of like fine about the 2 start, but yeah, to me, this feels like if you're looking to add, this doesn't feel like a great week if you're looking to add somebody for the long term, unless you're in a league where Ryan Nelson, Connor Prelip, Christian Scott are rostered. And that's why you and I were talking about the Jared Jones and Troy Melton type of.
Oh, yeah. And Griffin Jacks. Yes.
Griffin Jacks. Where like
there you go.
Jared Jones and Troy Melton, this is a good week to kind of get those guys in there.
Yeah.
Rather than say like, if you don't need to do the Walbert Urania 2 start week, you know, like if it's not required, then like maybe you do just get a Troy Melton and stash him on your bench.
If it's not what?
Required. Fired. Required.
No, but that's, guys, all I'm saying, it's an accent. It's not an Eric thing. It's an accent. It's a popular one. I hear it all the time.
I don't know. Well, we're gonna have to find a support group of people.
I feel like it's a like a Westchester accent. It's like that area.
I mean, I'm not from Westchester, and that's offensive.
Where are you from?
I'm from downtown Manhattan. I was born and raised.
Yeah. I mean, I know Packer and all in Berkeley Carroll. This is why we do the Pelican and the Lion.
My mom is also from Queens, and if she knew she was raising a Westchester sounding kid, then
it is this northeastern kind of thing. Okay, I'll figure it out.
You'll figure it out.
Yeah,
you better just be a little nicer to me next time.
Well, anyway, so I wasn't being mean at all. I didn't say it was a bad thing. I was just identifying it so that everyone else can join me. Okay.
In calling me out on it.
Not calling me out, just identify the things I do, guys. It's right there. Just it's fun.
Be like Nick, guys. That's gonna do it for today. We had a long one. It was a fun one. Almost an hour and a half. Hopefully you found this useful. As a reminder, we've said this before, but if you rate and review, send your rate and review to Nick. Let us know what you think about this new format that we're doing. Get a little PL plus from Nick. And I'm gonna go watch a little baseball now. So I am Eric Samolsky, the Pelican.
I'm Nick Polk, the Lion, and I'm gonna stop making fun of Eric's accent.
Well, that's great, because I'm gonna go talk to myself in front of a mirror and see if I can fix how I sound.
A mirror.
A mirror.